AI video generation has just reached a major turning point. This entire music video you're watching right now, it was created from just a single reference image of a character, and another for the background. You no longer need to spend a week generating hundreds of images just to maintain character consistency for a 3-minute video. And what's more fascinating is that this method produces higher quality and more natural motion. And stick around, because I'll show you the full music video results for both this realistic style and an anime version at the end of the video. You don't want to miss it. So, the big question is this the best AI right now to make entire music videos, or even a movie, from just a few reference images? The potential you just saw is incredible. But finding out if a tool can really deliver without wasting a ton of money on trial and error, that's the hard part. And that's exactly why I'm making this video. I generated more than 1,000 videos on Vidu to create this guide for you. I'm Vivi, and I'm about to give you my complete playbook, the answer to that question based on my tests. You'll get the exact prompts, the pro tips, and the mistakes to avoid so you can start creating your dream projects today. Alright, before we dive into the examples, let's quickly cover how to set up your reference library. It's the foundation of everything we're about to do. First, you'll click the References button in the main menu. To add a new one, you simply click the big plus button. You can give your reference a name and then upload up to 3 images. The first image you add is the most influential, so put your best, most representative image in that primary slot. Now, after you upload your images, you'll click Next, and this next step is very important. The AI will try to guess what's in your images and will automatically generate a text prompt for you. You must check this auto-generated prompt carefully before you click Complete. Sometimes the AI misunderstands a detail, and correcting it here will save you a lot of headaches later. To give you an idea, for a full music video, my library might have 2 character references, 4 or 5 different background references, and even 2 references for visual effects, all with checked and corrected prompts. Alright, let's dive into the evidence. For each of these tests, I'm going to show you the exact prompt I used, we'll see the video it generates, and then I'll comment on the result and give you my analysis. Notice how my prompts are broken down into categories like subject, environment, and style. This is key. Example 1. Realistic style. Okay, let's analyze these results. My goal was a specific action. The character strides with new determination across a glowing glacier. Walking across the scene from left to right and left the scene. I ran this 4 times simultaneously to see the variations. Out of the 4, these 2 right here are very close to exactly what I prompted. They nailed the determined walk and the left to right movement. Now let's look at the ones that didn't quite work, because this is where we learn. In this version, she walks and then turns around multiple times, which wasn't in the prompt at all. And in this one, she breaks character for a moment and smiles, and a consistent finding across all 4 is that she never actually leaves the scene. So my conclusion is this: for a specific action, you can expect about a 50% success rate. You'll get some weird variations, but getting 2 out of 4 generations this close to the prompt is a really strong result. Okay, for this next example, I wanted to push the model's ability to tell a story within a single shot. My prompt was more narrative. A determined female character strides across a luminous glacier, then walks purposefully through a magical forest, with a quick cut to her boots crunching on radiant moss. Now, my first attempt was successful, but look closely. The character style is more like a 3D game character. I immediately suspected my reference image, which had a bit of a CG feel. So, this is a great tip: if you get a style you don't want, check your references first. So I retried it, but this time I added the keyword photorealistic to my prompt to guide it more strongly. And the difference is night and day. This is exactly what I wanted. A word of caution: adding photorealistic might not always work if your reference image is strongly stylized as 3D, but it's a great first step to try. The most incredible part of this result, though, is how it interpreted the journey. It actually created a scene where the background starts as a glacier and then fades into a forest, visually showing the passage of time and distance. This completely exceeded my expectations. For realistic styles, I am now convinced you can make anything from a short story to a music video, or even a full movie if you have the resources. Alright, let's talk about the 3D animation style. As I mentioned, I got one by accident before, but this time I was targeting it with a very ambitious prompt. I specifically asked for a single, radiant star reflects in her large expressive purple eyes. I wanted to test its ability to handle a very precise, subtle effect. So let's break down the result. The overall 3D aesthetic is gorgeous and it captured the profound wonder perfectly. But notice the eyes. Instead of a single reflection in them, we got a general sparkling effect around them. And this reveals a crucial lesson for anyone wanting to do complex special effects. The AI might interpret your specific instruction as a general vibe. It understood magic and stars near the eyes, but not the precise optical detail of a reflection. This doesn't mean it's a failure, it just means you have to be prepared to try many times to get closer to your exact vision. In my full MV that you'll see at the end, some of the other special effects I tried came out great, so persistence is key. Example 3. Anime style. Alright. Now for our third example, the anime style. I decided to give that difficult star reflection in the eye effect another shot after we saw the mixed results with the other styles. And as you can see, this is a huge success. The result is extremely close to the prompt. It nailed the kneeling pose, her looking up, and most importantly the eyes. So why did it work so well this time? The answer is right here, in the reference image. Her eyes in the original picture already have that beautiful, cosmic galaxy texture. Because I gave the AI a perfect starting point that contained the effect, it didn't have to invent it from scratch, it just had to animate what was already there. This is a really important tip. When you want a specific, stylized effect, it is often more effective to put that effect into your reference image than to just describe it in the prompt. This result looks amazing to me, and it's a perfect example of how to work with the AI to get exactly what you want before we move on to our final test. Okay, before we get to our final, most complex test, I want to walk you through a special case study. This single shot took me more than 10 attempts to get right, and the solution is a masterclass in prompting. My goal was simple: a character on a moving train. My early prompts, like this one, described the character, observing the passing scenery. Logically, that should work, but the result was always a static train with the character just looking out the window. After many frustrating tries, I completely rephrased the environment description. Here is the prompt that finally worked. Notice the key changes. Instead of just passing scenery, I used much more active, descriptive language. Scenery rushes past with a realistic parallax effect, and wildflowers and grasses blur quickly. I didn't just imply motion, I explicitly described how it should be moving. And the result was perfect. The train is finally moving, you can see the parallax effect in the background, and the whole scene feels alive. What's incredible is that some versions even added a character reflection on the window, which I didn't even ask for. This tells me that if you did prompt for a reflection, you could almost certainly get it. So the ultimate tip here is, if you want motion, describe the motion itself with strong, active words. Don't assume the AI will infer it. Last example for reference mode, mixing styles, 2 characters. For this final, and most difficult test, I wanted to see if Vidu could handle something that usually breaks other AI models, mixing a realistic character with a 2D anime character. And what made me so surprised here is how it handled this. It was able to mix the realistic and 2D characters naturally in one scene. Usually, an AI will try to force the 2D character into a 3D style to make everything match, but Vidu kept the distinct art styles, which is incredibly impressive and shows a high level of understanding. Now let's look at the other tools that support this process. Text to video. I use this for scenes that don't need to follow a specific reference image, for example, a nature scene like this one of space and stars. It can follow a general prompt pretty accurately. But if you want a complicated visual or action, it might take more than one try. This isn't a problem with the model, but comes down to our experience in writing a prompt that the AI understands clearly. It takes practice, high level of understanding. Image to video. For this tool, the consistency is very accurate. It follows both my reference image and my prompt incredibly well. For this example, I used a reference image and a detailed prompt describing a character in a misty greenhouse, holding a compass, with a specific medium shot and serene atmosphere. I haven't tested the sound effect generator extensively, but overall, it can create general sounds like water, rain, or wind pretty well, and is a nice addition to the toolkit. Alright, after all those tests, this is the most valuable part of the video. Here are the essential tips I learned that will save you time and money. Tip 1. Create seamless scenes. This is my #1 pro-level technique. You can extract a keyframe image from a video you already generated and use that as a reference for a new scene. You can either use the reference to video feature or the image to video technique with that new frame. This is the key to creating longer, seamless videos where the character and style stay consistent. Tip 2. Master your references. You can create and save references in your library for later. Each saved reference can hold up to 3 images, but the model heavily prioritizes the main image in the first panel. So always make sure to place the best, most representative image you want in that main slot. Tip 3. Manage your image budget. Vidu has a 7-image limit per generation. If you use 3 saved references that each have 3 images, that's 9 total, and the system will cut some off. To control this, be strategic. I usually use a total of 6 to 7 images across 2 or 3 references. Use a complex, 3-image reference for your main character, but then use simpler 1 or 2 image references for the background or effects. Tip 4. Keep your scenes simple. This is crucial, don't try to put too many actions in one scene. A difficult action and a special effect will likely fail. Stick to 1 or 2 simple actions for a safe result. If you have a complex idea, like a character summoning a sword and then attacking, split that into 2 different scenes and stitch them together later. Tip 5. Be careful mixing styles. CG effects are possible, but you might need to use a reference image of the effect itself. Be careful here. If your effect references 2D anime style but your character is realistic, Vidu might change your character's style to match the effect. As we saw earlier, it can mix styles, but you need to be aware of how it might interpret your references. Tip 6. Know what's difficult. For beginners or those on a low budget, avoid characters with complex asymmetrical features, like a unique hairstyle on one side or a single shoulder pauldron. These can flicker or swap sides. Also, highly detailed fantasy characters or buildings can be difficult to keep consistent at first. Tip 7. Master the core styles. In my tests, Vidu excels at 3 main styles: realistic, which looks like a live-action movie; animation, for classic anime or cartoon styles; and 3D animation, which is that in-between style, like a modern game cinematic from something like Final Fantasy VII. Be specific about the style in your prompt. Tip 8. Study the craft and find good assets. Your results will dramatically improve if you learn and use terms for camera views, composition, and lighting in your prompts. For reference images, there are free and paid options. Personally, I like Midjourney for fantasy-style backgrounds, but for realistic styles, you can often find great free reference images online. Tip 9. Think like the AI. Before you hit generate, read your prompt and imagine all the different ways it could be interpreted. If your prompt is unclear, the AI will get confused. And if you're ever stuck, use the Pro mode settings and ask another AI like ChatGPT to give you prompt ideas based on those available settings. It's a great way to get unstuck. So, my answer to the question is yes. For this specific workflow of creating narrative scenes from references, Vidu is the best tool I've used. If you want to try it yourself, you can sign up at vidu.com. The link is in the description. Use my code, and you'll get some extra credits to start with. Alright, I hope this guide helps you get started. And now, as promised, here is the proof. The full music videos I was able to create. First, the anime style.
I was glass, I was ice, but I melt under the sunlight. My reflection on the ocean, I could see my soul was broken, and it echoes in the trees. All my lost possibilities, and it cuts like a knife, and I let out a sigh. But I thought I was a star, but it turns out I was a constellation, and I thought I'd fall apart, but it turns out I was my foundation. Now I finally know.
And now here is the same concept, but recreated in a realistic style.
I was glass, I was ice, but I melt under the sunlight. My reflection on the ocean, I could see my soul was broken, and it echoes in the trees, all my lost possibilities. And it cuts like a knife, and I let out a sigh. But I thought I was a star, but it turns out I was a constellation. And I thought I'd fall apart, but it turns out I was my foundation. Like a ripple in the sea, I can move to a new beat, and I'll turn on a dime, and I'll let out a sigh. But I thought I was a star, but it turns out I was a constellation. And I thought I'd fall apart, but it turns out I was my foundation. The afterglow. Now I finally know.
Let me know in the comments what you think and what you plan to create. If this video helped you, hit like and subscribe for more AI for personal entertainment and productivity. See you next time.